Hi, my name is Jen, and I'm drawing my OCs. I know we all have that OC lore that we get so obsessed with, and this is one of them. I was thinking about them for so long, and I drew these two a long time ago, but I still want to yap about them and other characters, so here we go.
Blah 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 blue blue blue.
Okay, I'm gonna start off by explaining the world building of this universe. I like to call this story Morning Garden for a reason that I would get into. This world has 6 great kingdoms that are ruled by royal families, but they all follow like different gods and goddesses, and these gods have like, I don't know, like high priest or priestess or heralds. I don't know. I should probably look it up. They speak for them and they speak to them for everybody else. And for right now, who we're drawing is Preach. She's the high priestess for the kingdom I've temporarily called Adelon. I actually don't know where I got that name from. I think I either got it from like a generator or just like mashed up like a kingdom name in my head to like make it sound medieval. But like honestly, I don't know, I should like find like a way better name. But anyways, like this is like where like the main story like kind of like takes place and where the main character of the story is from. And this character, Preach, she's like very serious about her job. She follows every single command that Gospel gives her, and Gospel is kind of like the god that, or goddess that the kingdom Adelon kind of worships and stuff. So you know, she's kind of like a mysterious character because no one knows where she came from, but they believed in her because she has like a special connection with Gospel, and even though nobody knew who she was, she had, you know, quite influence, so people believed that there was like something, you know, better and great about her enough to like vote her in. I actually don't know if they're, you know, if they're voted, but they're voted in this world. So she was chosen, and, you know, I would like to think that she's low-key in love with the goddess of Adelon. I don't know. I kind of based her design off of Corona? No, not Corona. When I say Corona, from Soul Eater. I don't know if it's like kind of obvious. It's kind of obvious to me. I'll kind of like change it, but right now she's kind of like in her first stages of character design, and I might delve into it and change it later, but yeah. To circle back on the herald or high priestess thing, after looking it up, which I most likely put the definition on the screen back when I was talking about it, but I believe she's like a mix of both, because she's also like a messenger for Gospel, like a herald, but she's also like the chief priest of a non-Christian religion. So I think she applies to like both definitions of herald and high priestess, but I would most likely put her under like the role of high priestess than like a herald. So I would call her like a high priestess than other than like any other role. So yeah, I think she's a high priestess. Moving on to Gospel. She is the goddess of Adelon, and, you know, people worship her and all that stuff, and she represents wealth and influence, and with worshiping her, those things come true for that kingdom. So, like, it happens with all kingdoms. All of them have, like, their own sort of, like, perks to worshiping these gods. Like, they, you know, focus on these gods. They have, what they represent, you know. So for example, since she represents influence and wealth, the kingdom of Adelon is very wealthy and very influential. They have a lot of say in politics and all that stuff, and they are the richest kingdom out of all six, or out of the rest of the five. Yeah, out of all six, they are the richest kingdom. And I tried giving her a character design as much gold as possible to kind of represent, wealth and stuff, of all the gold that she has, or the kingdom has. And gospel requires her main priest to or her royals and her main priest to wear mask, and because she wants to show them that people will still follow them even though they don't know what they look like, because she has a golden mask, and she has her royals showing having a mask too. And as you can see, that not gospel preach, she also wears a mask. I kind of wanted to represent people following these royals and priests, and just these people highly, blindly, not highly, these people in high positions blindly. And so that's kind of where it is. And also their identities are kind of kept a secret. They're only known as the prince, the princess, the queen, the king. Not really nobody really knows their names or knows how they look like, and that kind of mysterious anonymity and I don't why don't I know the word, that kind of them not knowing more about gospel. She is not what you think she would be. She's plotting something that the other gods and goddesses don't know about. And I like to imagine that the gods and goddesses have their own kind of meeting and their own kind of otherworldly world, separate from where the kingdom is, or separate from the earth. So while she's plotting things, she's keeping it from the other gods, and she's kind of the villainous. Preach and Gospel are kind of the antagonist of this story, and the protagonists of the story are my baby boys, Lindsay and Cypher. This is kind of a romance fantasy story, which I should have said in the beginning, because the reason why it's called Morning Garden is because they met in a garden in the morning, which is pretty self-explanatory, so I don't know why I said that in the beginning, but it's because it's about the other main characters that I might draw and talk about later. So I guess that's all I have to say for right now, and I hope that you like these characters, and I hope that you love the way they look and are at least a little bit interested in the story. I know I didn't give that much information or info out, so yeah.
Okay, so I will admit that I am not as obsessed as I was when I made the drawing, because I made the drawing over a few months ago, but I do love talking about my OC stories, and this is just one of them that I would just love to get out there. So I appreciate you for tuning in and listening if you did. So thank you so much, and bye.